Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Tuesday evening Facebook Live. My name is Sarah Edwards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I come to you guys live every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 to show you a fun new project. So as I was thinking on what I should do tonight, I need a gift bag, and I went upstairs to look for a gift bag, and I was like, all my gift bags are way too big. I'm thinking, why don't I just make one? So we are going to make a super fun, cute gift bag that the card is attached to. I haven't done boxes or bags in quite some time, so I thought it was a little bit of a change. So I'm super excited to show you guys what I've come up with. And I'm using the absolutely gorgeous Daisy Designer Series paper, and it is still on sale right now until the end of the month, and you get to double dip tomorrow. So the Designer Series paper is on sale, 15% off, and it is free shipping over $75. So you can definitely stock up on Designer Series paper and double dip, which is quite nice. I will be staying up till 11 o'clock tonight when it rolls over to midnight in Salt Lake City. We're an hour different. So I will be staying up till 11 to be placing the retreat orders that I've gotten, and obviously to get some paper, some Designer Series paper and cardstock for myself. So if anybody needs anything, you can definitely text me because I will be up. And I was up late last night. Silly me, I have no idea why. I continually to add more things to my already to-do list than it is. My plate is already overflowing, and I keep adding more to it. But I had my house windows cleaned today, so I had to take down all of the curtains and dust them off, and they're not all quite hung back up. I got the bedrooms done, but the living room isn't done. I'll get to that, hopefully, in a couple days. It's not on my high priority list right now. It's just us. Who cares? Good evening, Heather. How are you? So hopefully everybody's had a great day. I have been frantically working away on pillow gifts for the retreats. There's one in my house that is all over my dining room table, and I have to have it completed and picked up by Saturday because I'm having some of our girlfriends over to do a watch party that Stampin' Up's putting on. So I can't give any surprises away, so I have to have them done and put away and my entire table cleaned off before Saturday. So cross our fingers that I do get it done. I might be working on that while I'm up tonight, but who knows? Good evening, Darlene. Welcome. If you're just logging on, say hi so I know you're here. Let's point you over so we can start crafting. Let me bring in the Designer Series paper sale that is going on right now. I'm going to make sure we are live on my Facebook, and there it is. So this is the Designer Series paper. So you get 15% off. There's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 13 different Designer Series paper packs that you can get. And one of them that I'm using is the Fresh as a Daisy 12x12 Designer Series paper. So that's what I am using. We're not going to make the card that is attached to it because it actually was one of my bingo cards that we did when I had bingo the first part of May. So the card slides in and out right here so you can write your sentiment. You know how when you have a gift bag and you drop the card in, the card always falls to the bottom? So this way, your card is just going to slide on the outside, and you have a perfect little gift to give to somebody. And I did put our little brads on the edges to hold the strap on. I honestly probably wouldn't even lift it unless it's some candy or something very light. I wouldn't lift it by the handle, but I thought the handle added a little bit of extra kind of cuteness to it, so that's why I added it. But I would just carry it from the side. You can use the designers, or you know, in the Designer Series paper packs, how it has this piece of cardboard. You can use this if you want to make it a little bit stiffer, but I am just going to be using the Designer Series paper for today. And we're only going to make one because we're going to do this from start to finish. The Designer Series paper I picked is this absolutely gorgeous moody mauve. There's lots of different colors in here. The wheat is in here, but the moody mauve and the bubble bath is the kind of the primary colors. So then I just brought in a piece of the bubble bath to go with it to make our little thing that holds our card. So these two are 12 by 12. We are going to do a little bit of cutting And my iPad is on my trimmer, so let's pull in your trimmer. You do want to have your arm out as well so we can cut this. So we're going to cut our designer series paper 10 by 10. I do suggest making sure that your designer series paper is going the same direction. So just make sure that you're going to be cutting it exactly the same. And I think that looks good. So we're going to cut this at 10. And then I'm going to rotate it and cut this at 10 again. So we're going to have two 10 by 10 pieces. Some people cut the designer series paper at the same time. I'm always afraid it's going to shift. So that's why I just do one at a time. So there's that. And make sure you rotate it the same way so your pieces are going to line up. So now we have two pieces that are 10 by 10. I'm going to set that aside, but I'm going to bring in one of the pieces that is 2 by 12 inches. This is just one of the pieces we cut off. And I'm going to cut this down to 3/4 of an inch. This is what I used for the little strap. I figured we might as well just get the cutting done while we have the cutter ups. And one more thing we're going to use for the cutter is I brought in a piece of bubble bath. We want this at 5.5. We're going to do this 5.5, and I just grabbed a scratch piece, so I really didn't even make sure that it was the right size. And I'm going to cut this down to 3/4 of an inch. So we can get rid of that. While we have the trimmer out, I am going to cut this one more time. I'm going to slide this to the 1/4 inch mark. I know this is probably a little much, but I'm going to slide this to the 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to pull down my blade so it's not right at the edge. And I'm just going to slice this. I don't want to go all the way I don't want to cut through this paper, but I want to get as close as possible to that edge as I can without going through. And that looks pretty good. If you need to trim this again with some paper snips, you can. But this is what's going to give us where our card is going to slide through. And I did plenty room, so you really didn't even have to go that far, but you can kind of see right on the edge where I didn't cut all the way through. That's just for the little holder. So I'm going to set that aside. Bring in our designer series paper. Make sure that our edges are aligned. Or not the edges, make sure that it's the same direction. That's what I'm meaning to say. We're going to grab our scoring tool and we're going to score this a couple times. So the first score mark is going to be at 1 inch. I'm going to rotate 2 inches, rotate 2 inches, rotate one more time, 2 inches. Set that aside, bring in this piece. Again, that's 1 inch, rotate, 2 inches, rotate, 2 inches, rotate, and 2 inches. Are you guys going to be literally saying that in your sleep tonight? Good evening, Debbie and Mary. How are you guys? Okay, so now we're just going to work with one piece at a time. So our 1 inch piece that you trimmed, it's kind of hard to see, maybe turning it over, you can see it. So here's our 1 inch piece. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to fold this towards me. And I do want to just make sure that my edges are lined up, and then I'm going to give this a good crease. And then the 2 inch sides, we're going to come in and I'm going to fold these in because I want the flower side out. So I'm just going to make sure my edges line up. Give that a good crease. Fold this in. Make sure it's all lined up. That looks good. And we're going to do the same for this one. So there is no need to buy gift bags any longer. You can definitely make your own. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of trimming on the first one. I am going to say the first one is going to be our inside. And there is an inside and an outside to your bag. So this one's going to be the inside. So I want to take off this little triangle that's right here. Well, not triangle. It's not a square. Rectangle. I'm going to take off this rectangle right here. And I'm going to take off of this side as well. It's kind of hard to see the score marks. There we go. Then I'm going to come in and work on the bottom. So this is my top. I'm going to come in and work on my bottom. It kind of sounds funny to say that out loud. My bottom needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to cut down the score line, and I'm just going to come in and notch this square out. This is just going to help get a nice even fold. And it doesn't look like I cut so swell on that score line, so I'm going to flip it over and just give that a smidgen more of a trim. It's the inside, so it's really not even going to matter, but just in case. So this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in, cut up that score line, and I'm just going to notch out these edges. Okay, so let's glue this one together so we don't get confused. I'm going to grab my adhesive, and I really suggest using the green glue with this bag. It will give you a little bit more wiggle room versus using tear tape. I love tear tape when I'm using 3D items or 3D things, but for this, you want the wiggle room. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm going to glue this flap down. There we go. And in my original bag, I don't know if you guys can see inside, but there's no gaps on the inside. And I did that, or there's no little wings on the inside. So since this is going to be the inside of our bag, I'm going to glue these flaps this way. Our other one, we're going to glue this way. Hopefully that makes sense. We're hiding our seams. So I'm going to put adhesive on here. And I'm just going to line up that edge with the edge of your paper. So you can see we literally have half of our box, or our bag. It's a box, it's a bag, whatever you want to call it. It's a bag, but I said box. So this is the inside piece. So now we just need to make the outside. Okay, let's bring in our other piece. Let's find the 1 inch mark. Now on this one, we're not going to take off the little edges. We're going to keep those edges on there. So give that a good crease. And a good way to know that you're keeping it on is just to glue it down. And then if you get distracted or your phone rings and you come back to it a second later and you forget where you're at, you'll be like, oh, I already glued it down. So that must be, it's the outside. Not that any of us ever get distracted. Like I totally don't think any of us ever lose concentration. So there we go. And now we can start folding at the score marks. So I'm just going to make sure those are lined up. And I was super gentle, and I did go over pushing that glue down. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to have any puckers. And I did say puckers. So there's that. Then our last one is this guy. And then all we have to do is do a smidgen trimming on the bottom. Remember, this is our top because we already glued that together. So we're going to take and do the same thing to the bottom. We're going to cut up that, and I want to take a smidgen out. Same on this side. And it doesn't matter how big or little your smidgen is. Wherever your scissors land and you start cutting, that's it. That's a smidgen. Okay, so now, because this is the outside, we are going to glue these on the inside because we don't want any seams on the bottom of our bag. So I'm going to grab my adhesive, and I am putting probably a little bit more than I usually would, but I don't want it to go anywhere. It's not going to, but so I'm going to line up those edges, and then I'm going to put this on the inside. There we go. So just hold that down. And now we have the front of our box, our bag. I keep saying box. And here is the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the inside piece, the side that we have got the edges cut off, and I am going to douse this with adhesive. So there's one side, the second side, and the third side. Sorry, I know I'm really close to the camera, but I don't want to get adhesive on my workstation. So I have adhesive on all of these sides. Now I'm going to slide this in, trying to make sure everything's lined up. You might need to push this down a hair. Line that up. Line all of your pieces up. If you need to, you can grab your bone folder, put it on its side, slide your bone folder in and give that a good rub. Flip it over, do the same thing to this side. You see what I mean? Using the green glue, you have a bit more wiggle room. So there you go. And if you look on the inside, there are no of the yucky seams. And then the bottom, it's absolutely gorgeous as well. So the inside is as beautiful as the outside. So this is the back of my bag because this is where this seam is. So I'm going to flip this over, grab our little piece that we cut in the beginning. So you're going to have a skinny end and a wide end. We want the wide end down at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is flip this over, grab some of our tear tape. I'm going to line the tear tape just on the top. You don't want to put it on the bottom because that means you're going to glue this shut and you're not going to be able to slide your card in. And I am going to come down here and I just want to put a little smidgen on the edge. There we go. Hello, Marie. Good evening. Thanks for joining. Now, this is the tricky part. Since I got back from vacation, when I took my nails off, they are so thin and brittle, I've had to keep them really, really short. So I can't pick anything up. If you have anything hanging over, just roll it back on itself. There we go. Now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to kind of turn this sideways, just so I have a little better angle. I'm going to position it as best as I can. If it's not perfectly centered, which it's not, I am not even going to worry about it. You're going to center that. And then obviously you will have an absolutely gorgeous card that matches your bag. And you can slide that in. And voila. We have one last step to do. And you guys are going to be so amazed at my measurements on this. So here's that piece that we cut in the beginning. And I'm going to bring in the little brads. And this is the measurements that I did. So I put my end right underneath. I grabbed Stampin' Up! Used to sell these. I think it's like a 1/8 of an inch circle punch. I'm going to slide this in. I'm going to hope and pray that I got that piece. This is my measurements. Sometimes if you overthink it, you get frustrated. Oh, and I did. I didn't get frustrated. I did get it. You get frustrated, and you don't want to be frustrated while you're crafting. it makes it where crafting isn't fun. So I'm going to come in, my handy dandy measurements. That looks like it's pretty good. Slide this in. You have to kind of get your big hands out of the way if you have big hands like I do. Give that a good squeeze. And you are going through lots of paper, so you will have to put a tiny bit of muscle into it. There you go. That is how you put together a super cute gift bag. And I did it, this is the front. So if you accidentally put this this little piece on the back, it's not tragic, and literally you are probably the only one that's gonna know that you put it on the wrong side. Don't tear it apart. Don't try to pull this off. Once the tear tape is on there, it is not gonna come off. You will tear your bag up and then you'll be really frustrated. And we don't want that. So here are the two, my original example and the one that we just did on the live. So, oh, there it goes. That is going to slide in. You can use any designer series paper you want. If you have a specific theme that you're going for, you could totally make these as little gifts for everybody. But possibilities are endless, and they are so fun, and it would definitely be the talk of the party if you walk in with one of these. Okay, hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's live. I will be back Thursday at 7. I am hopefully, cross my fingers, back to Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7. The kind of cycle ended on the 18th, and I made my hours pretty much by like 5 hours, but it doesn't matter as long as I made it, right? So I should be back to my Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 from here on out. Obviously, there's things that do come up that I might have to change, but I'm super excited, and thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, tonight at 11 o'clock Arizona time, it is free shipping on all orders over $75. And it is all day tomorrow as well. It's 24 hours, so it will end tomorrow night at 11 p.m. So if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. I will be up till 11 o'clock tonight placing my orders. So if you need anything, definitely send me a message. We'll talk to you guys soon, and I'll see everybody on Thursday. Bye-bye.